Hello everyone, let me explain very quickly what this video is. Some of you may know the channel Household Hacker. You certainly know the channel Household Hacker. Many of you, because many of you came from there. The guy who ran that channel, Hart, passed away a year ago, November 6th, 2020. If you didn't know, now you do. I commented about it on my social media, but I didn't really make any announcement on my channel exactly. Now, after Dylan's passing, his channel was supposed to continue under Scott. Scott Martin, a longtime friend of mine and Dylan's, worked alongside Dylan as his business partner for the channel. With Dylan's death, he went from once being a brilliant partner and half of the Household Hacker brand to being treated like a new hire with a criminal record. There was a tribute video made that was uploaded to the Household Hacker channel for Dylan, memorializing his life, for his fans to enjoy, his family to enjoy, so people could remember him. It took a lot of strenuous effort to make that. I helped behind the scenes with producing that video. Scott did 90% of the other work, which was the hard stuff. It was incredibly taxing on him, probably on me too, but I tried to kind of focus elsewhere. I tried to just focus on getting the thing done, but it was difficult. No one could do Dylan's work justice like Scott could. Nobody. Dylan often said that Scott was every bit as good as him at producing content for Household Hacker, so this seemed like the most natural way forward. Things seemed hopeful for a very, very short time. Unfortunately, due to some shady behavior from an individual behind the scenes who was laying claim to everything Dylan had created and was even attempting to claim things for which they had no right to, the channel started to fall apart shortly after the release of the tribute video. Dylan's memory and his death itself were both being disrespected egregiously. Due to this individual's thirst for control over every aspect of the Household Hacker channel, despite having zero experience in the business of running a YouTube channel, something which Dylan would have never accepted in any way whatsoever. He would have flipped out. The entire channel fell apart behind the scenes. As a result, the tribute video was taken down and remains down. I personally saw this as not only spitting in the face of Dylan's viewers, who he had appreciated throughout his entire career, but also an injury to Dylan's parents, who loved the tribute video and they used it to remember their son. He loved to create for everyone, to show people a new way of seeing the world, his own personal way. It's a way that I'm afraid won't come back around again in any of our lifetimes. The kind of person Dylan was is far from a common kind. I couldn't let this stand, and neither could Scott. Due to the fact that Dylan and I were so close, and I've since brought Scott on as the producer for my channel, we've decided to re-upload the tribute video with some necessary changes here on my channel on the 1-year anniversary of Dylan's passing, in hopes that we can get as many people to see this video as possible so Dylan's viewers and loved ones will have a tribute video to watch. Countless Household Hacker fans were upset when the original tribute video was taken down, as Dylan had impacted so many people's lives, like leading numerous viewers who watched Dylan as kids to pursue careers in STEM as adults. So this video is here for the Household Hacker fans and for those who admired, knew, and truly loved Dylan Hart. Scott will take it from here. We hope you enjoy the tribute as it was meant to be.
So there's a lot of things that I want to say. There's some things I wanted to say before that I couldn't. This is not the first time I've done this. I had to do revision after revision after revision, not by choice. Now, 2019, 2020, I know it was brutal for a lot of us, but losing Dylan a year ago was life-changing for me. I had to pick up the pieces and figure out what I was doing with my life, because we were best friends and we worked together. We produced hundreds of videos together. I've known him since the beginning of YouTube. I moved out to Portland in 2014, and he helped me grow into the person I am. This backdrop, everything you see here, is inspired by him. The paint choices, he was like, you should try this and try this. And so in September of 2020, I sat down with Dylan at his place and I told him my idea of a family-oriented household hacker, something that would be my own, rather than us partnering up on something that he had created originally. And what was silly troll science videos early on turned into a legit life hacks channel, household hacker, a bunch of things you can do around your household. Now, I wanted to expand on that and do family stuff, crafts, travel, all different kinds of hacks and things to make your life easier, and still test products. So now that he's gone and I had his blessing, I'm going to do that, just not on the channel I wanted to. I tried to make it work. It wasn't going to. I made a promise to Dylan that I would continue on his legacy, and it'll be on this new channel. It'll be inspired by everything we've done together. My life really changed after meeting him. When I moved here, I didn't really know what I wanted other than, I wanted to be a father. I'm 39 now, and I met the woman of my dreams in 2019. We got engaged last month. We have a 3-month-old son together. I surprised her at her parents' house while my mother and 90-year-old grandmother were in town, and it was a beautiful moment caught on camera. I had told Dylan a year ago that I wanted to marry her, and he said, go get a ring. Due to the unfortunate situation that happened immediately following, I had to focus on finances and my family. So now I'm in a much better spot thanks to RobGavagan, one of my best friends as well, mutual best friend with Dylan. I'm his main video producer. I've been working on his social media and his new productions, and he's helped me support my family. And I want my own thing as well. So if you guys want more household hacker-like things, check out Kill Time Crew. Dylan, I just want to say thank you so much for everything you've ever done for me. You're a special person, you were very kind, and your influence will continue forever. Thank you. This channel has been more than Dylan's creative outlet and voice. It was his true passion. He had such a creative spirit and a one-of-a-kind perspective on the world, and enjoyed sharing it with all of you. From science experiments to crafty hands-on projects, life hacks, product reviews, and everything in between. Our focus is to continue making the kind of content that Dylan inspired. We know that he'd want the show to go on. And in that way, what Dylan started will always be able to grow and bring out the MacGyver in all of us.
Today we're going to be charging an iPod using electrolytes and an onion. Firmly push the USB adapter into the top of the onion. And once you get that in there, give it a few seconds for the power to travel through. You should be able to charge your iPod for about 15 to 20 minutes using this method.
Take your USB connector from your MP3 player, plug it directly into the onion. Okay, wait a second or two, and then it magically starts to charge. My feeling is it's probably a hoax, because in order to get a real wet cell battery, you need 2 dissimilar metals, which you're not going to find with your MP3 player's USB player.
It never hurts to double check, but the voltmeter's just as lively as the MP3.
Guess this one's busted.
Busted. There's 2 minutes of your life you'll never get back again.
As funny as those videos were, Dylan called it troll science, and obviously after a while people didn't believe it, but he started doing actual life hacks and gained a lot of credibility for it. Quick and simple life hacks, and that became the bread and butter of the channel for years and caught the attention of Conan O'Brien, who did a video response on air.
This is absolutely real, and I watched it, and I was fascinated by it. It's called Household Hacker, Quick and Simple Life Hacks, Part 8. Check it out.
This is Quick and Simple Life Hacks, where we solve your everyday problems with a little MacGyver-inspired ingenuity. Want your ice cream to last longer without getting ruined? Wrap the box in tin foil, and it will keep out the frost and preserve your delicious treat. Ice tray leaking a bit? Stay cool. Grab an empty egg carton and fill it up for an excellent replacement. Having trouble cracking open that glass jar? Go into your sink and grab a rubber cleaning glove. That little bit of extra grip will have you enjoying those pickles in no time. And finally, want to light a candle but that lighter won't reach? Grab a dried stick of spaghetti and light it instead. It's gonna burn nice and slow and let you get to those hard to reach places.
All right, well, it's time for my video response. Hi, Conan O'Brien here. I just watched Household Hacker Life Hacks Part 8, and I have my own thoughts.
That quick and simple life hack series was really a way for Dylan to bring out the MacGyver in all of us, and it was a great way to learn quick and simple ways to solve everyday problems.
Distractions in your bedroom are one of the main causes of sleeplessness. We keep books, magazines, electronics all surrounding our Borg alcove. If you have a TV in there, unplug it or just turn it off. This can lead to falling asleep much faster and enable you to have a rich, deep sleep without possible interruption.
After a while, that got old, and we started doing overcomplicated life hacks, which kind of broke up the monotony of doing the same thing on a weekly basis. So that actually showed his sense of humor and how you could do the opposite. Take very basic problems and give them a complex solution.
What a fantastic solution to drying your clothes, and all without using electricity. You ever want to grab a drink of water and find that your only glass is filthy and disgusting? Head out to your living room and grab a decorative candle. Get out a lighter and spark it up. Boom, there you have it. In just 15 short hours, you'll magically create a brand new drinking glass that's just begging to be filled. Ah, refreshing, yeah, and with a slight hint of lavender.
The coronavirus is bringing out a new spirit of resourcefulness. This is a machine someone crazy invented that separates one roll of 2-ply bathroom tissue into 2 rolls of 1-ply. And that way, I guess it lasts longer. So, look at this. 2 rolls. If you're wondering what it's come to, that is what it has come to.
Oh, hey, don't worry about us. Everything's great here. Just have a look around. Oh, hold on a second.
Decontamination sequence activated.
Anyway, if you're seeing this, you are the resistance. We're tired of winning, and see you next time.
One of the things that I'm going to remember Dylan for most is his desire to break things up and do these elaborate cinematic intros that kind of showed off just how creative he was.
Help you clean up unfortunate spills and can even make a rad bandana.
Ladies and gentlemen, for thousands of years, hot weather has plagued mankind, causing enough side effects to give you the heebie-jeebies. Sunburn, heat exhaustion, and even worse, BO.
If you want to get to the top, you gotta know the tricks of the trade. Brains over brawn, mind over matter. You don't come this far without setting a few fires. Take a seat. It's time you learned my secrets. They say you're the fastest dryer in the West, but can you hitch a snubbing post, flapjack a fraggle, or even dry dust a clacking box? That's what I thought. Now draw. I wasn't always a cheesy hitman, but then it declared war. A war of digestive intolerance. There's only one way to stop it. I must become a monster. He grabs a brick in his yard. What happens next will make you... No, too BuzzFeed. This one tinfoil trick will make your jaw... No, too Huffington Post. This dude puts a donut in the pan, and when he turns it on... No, too SoFlo. Got it. 8 mind-blowing ways to use your hairdryer. There's 3 kinds of detectives. City cops, big agencies, and then there's me, Dylan Hart, life hack detective. As a professional sleuth, I've found my share of swindlers and put them under glass. But sometimes the biggest cases walk right in your front door. She caught me right in the eye and said, I have what you're looking for. I've never seen anything like it. A strange metal cylinder with an infinite spectrum of possibilities. Listen closely. It's everywhere around us, binding the physical world together. A highly advanced rubberized adhesive mechanism, providing us with the ability to accomplish anything. Conquer our enemies in battle. Travel the far reaches of the galaxy. Harness the power of the atom. Create technological wonders of the world.
A series that I pitched and piloted was As Seen on TV, tested and recreated. We didn't realize how much you guys wanted to have us unbox and review products to save you time and money and see which ones were worth the money.
Just look at that. Easy, breezy, beautiful dollar store Iron Man. You just give this thing a very slight push down and whoosh, out goes the claw. Yippee-ki-yay, Green Gobbler. Direct hit. As far as the clear drain is concerned, I love you 3000.
This series alone has only 34 videos so far and over 100 million video views. So don't worry, there will be more.
Who sits on the throne and who gets thrown? Kobe!
This channel was never about milestones for Dylan. He didn't need credit for anything. Most of the time, everything was autonomous. You didn't know whose hands were on camera, whose idea it was, but you definitely heard his voice. Over 500 videos where Dylan voiced over and became the brand of the channel. He just wanted to create for the sake of creating and entertain you guys, and he always appreciated you guys.
Without all of you out there, I'm just some random guy in my mother's basement doing bizarre and weird science experiments. Science isn't about why, it's about why not, which is exactly the reason that I combined putty with iron. Why don't we learn to breathe fire? Blow it out like some sort of crazy horn that spits hot fire. We're gonna take a bottle and turn it into a rocket. We'll mess with air, and we'll mess with water.
Helium.
This is dry ice, but when you drop it in water, it quickly turns back into a gas. Candle wax is an amazing substance, and if it falls into the wrong hands, it can wreak havoc upon society. The carbon dioxide generated by baking soda and vinegar will quickly extinguish all the flames. If you pour some yeast into peroxide, you get this effect right here. And this one's really simple. All you need is food coloring, some milk, and some dish soap. And this is the kind of effect you're gonna get. Amazing. We're on location this week to show you how to properly celebrate New Year's, the way nature intended, with a high-powered potato cannon. We've got a big bowl of baby oil. What if you could just break out a pencil, draw a circuit on a piece of paper, and have it work? Don't you hate when you get a box full of these packing peanuts? Well, today I'm going to show you how to turn them into plastic. We took a Tupperware container filled with about 40 screws and tossed it up towards the magnet. That's another gold coin! And give it a nice, hearty pull. Now you can go number 2 while making sure your back is number 1. Ah, now that is refreshing. We hope you enjoyed taking your vacuum to the next level.
Thank you to each and every one of you who've shown your continued support over the years. Making content you enjoy and can learn something unique from has always been what motivates us. And we hope you'll continue to give us the opportunity to create for you. As you can imagine, Dylan created a lot of friendships throughout his time on YouTube. And some of those creators want to say a few words. Thank you all again, and we'll see you soon.
Dylan Hart was a friend of mine. He was one of the first YouTube partners, the first people to make money on YouTube. That's a very small group. Back then, YouTube was the wild, wild west, and a lot of early creators had a disdain for the entertainment industry, like Rodney Dangerfield, like Frank Sinatra. Hollywood gave us no respect at all, but we did it our way. Dylan was quirky. He constantly saw things nobody else saw. He was like a matrix oracle in so many situations. He had a big heart, and he did it his way. I'm gonna miss him.
So I remember the first time that Dylan and I worked on a project together. I needed some people to light their hands on fire and then to slap me repeatedly in the face. And then he did. He lit his hands on fire and just hit me again and again with fists full of flames. And it was, in retrospect, kind of a unique way, I guess, to kick off a friendship. Definitely a fun memory. Over the years, Dylan, he was just incredibly welcoming to me. Like, he was always legitimately and genuinely concerned about what was going on in my life, and he invested time and energy into my life, even when it wasn't always easy or expedient to do so. I am just incredibly grateful to Dylan and everything that he has done in my life and everything that he meant as a friend. And also to the friends that I only have because he went out of his way to make sure that we knew each other. He was always connecting people, and I have lifelong friends now because of that. If I can ever pay forward even a fraction of the kindness that he's afforded me, I feel like that would be a successful life. Dylan, I'm gonna miss you, man. Rest well.
I think Dylan was an inspiration to us all. He'd been on YouTube for such a long time, and he had a real fun and unique character which shone through in all of his productions. He had a brilliant sense of humour, and I always looked forward to seeing what he would release next. I became friends with Dylan about 6 years ago, and although we never met in person, we'd touch base with each other on chat every now and again, sharing ideas and discussing how things were going in the world of YouTube and our private lives. He was a really warm and welcoming individual, and I was devastated to hear we'd lost him. He will be very much missed here on the community. He leaves us with a library of great videos, hugely entertaining and funny. And although he's no longer with us, his legacy does live on.
You probably have heard me or seen me somewhere along the lines on this channel over the years. I moved across the country to work with Dylan directly, and he's been my best friend for over a decade. We talk daily. We send each other voice messages and texts and brainstormed every week with video ideas. I really got to see his passion, his creativity, his sense of humor, his compassion as a friend. And he's gonna be missed. Dylan, you've changed my life forever. I moved to the Pacific Northwest and fell in love with not only the area, but a woman I want to spend my life with, and I owe you a debt of gratitude. And I love you, man. I miss you, and I'll see you on the other side.
So it's really bizarre to me that I'm making a video talking about my friend being gone, and especially him being gone for an entire year, especially at the age that he passed. Dylan was a great guy, and he was basically solely responsible for giving me my start on YouTube. And that's something that I will always be grateful for. And I told him that many times, and I'm glad that I was able to let him know how I felt about him as a friend and how grateful I was to him for giving me my start. Dylan gave me a chance when I had no idea how I was going to get any exposure or meet anybody on YouTube or anything like that. Back in the day, you could actually create sub-networks under main networks, and at the time it was called Collective Digital Studios. Now it's Studio 71, and he created something called TubeUnity. And I remember talking to him and kind of being starstruck, I'll be honest with you, because he had millions of subscribers, and I was still a small YouTuber. I only had about 15,000 or something like that at the time. And I remember him saying, you know, if you sign with me, I'll introduce you to some people and get you some exposure, and he did exactly that. And if it wasn't for him, I don't know where I'd be right now. I'd probably still be an accountant, doing something that I'm not happy doing, and I was able to make a career out of it. And that's something that I'm forever grateful to him for. And it's a real shame that someone so generous and so loving and so kind, he was just a kind guy. He just was. It's a real shame that he's gone, because I considered him a brother the same way that I consider Scott a brother, the same way that I consider Rob a brother. There's very few people in my life that I still am in contact with regularly from my early YouTube days. And one of those people is gone now. And for Dylan to be gone for a year is, I guess it's a sobering reminder that life is short, and to let the people know who you care about, let them know that you care about them, and let them know how much they mean to you, and let them know that you're grateful for them. And I'm glad that I was able to do that before Dylan passed. And Dylan, I know that you're up there. I know that religion really wasn't your thing, and I know you weren't such a spiritual guy, but I know that you can see this video, and you can see how much people care about you now that you're gone. And I love you, man. And I'm sad every day that you're gone, but I'm glad that I knew you, and I'm glad that I was your friend, and I feel blessed and grateful for that, because there's not a lot of people that come along that were like Dylan. He's a very special guy, very brilliant guy, very loving guy, and he was, a lot of people knew him as household hacker, but I knew him as my friend. And yeah, it's really sobering to think that he's been gone for a whole year. So Dylan, I love you, man. You know that, and thank you for everything you did for me. And I look forward to seeing you again one day, man.
I knew Dylan incredibly well. It may seem kind of like a cliche thing to say, but he was very much like a brother to me. I don't have any siblings, so it's pretty much as close as it got. We both had a fairly sick sense of humor, and we thought a lot in the same way, and that's kind of how we initially hit it off. Scott, who you've heard speaking throughout this video, is the one who actually introduced us online during a live show called Let Your Google Hangout that I used to do a long time ago, back in like 2013, 14. And man.
I want to also introduce Dylan here. We've got Dylan from Household Hacker.
Those were the days. Those were the days. But that's where I met Dylan. And I had known about Household Hacker. I knew of the channel. I'd watched plenty of videos, but Dylan never really showed his face. So when I had seen him in the chat there and we're talking, I had no idea who he was until Scott told me, oh yeah, he runs Household Hacker. And I'm like, what? You gotta be absolutely kidding me.
No, I'm an hour from Boston.
Like Matthew asked one time.
Dude, I know a guy who lives in Boston. So
I know like 3 people that live in Boston.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It ends up back after the computer.
High five, bro.
I know a guy that wants to go to Boston really badly.
Okay.
So,
Great city.
Okay, cool.
That's pretty crazy.
That was Household Hacker, and I'm just, we hit it off so well, and after that he wanted to like work with me and help me out, and he did so much for my career. He really did help lift me off the ground and just expose me to all new audiences, and a lot of the growth I've experienced and what I have today is thanks to him. And there's not a shred of doubt to that he is a massive part of why I've experienced any level of success in my life in terms of this career choice of working on the internet.
That you're a hero.
Thanks, Rob. Now, one thing you might want to consider is putting a little sign next to your toilet so that when your friends come over to use it, they'll know the slew when they go number 2. A big thanks to Rob Dyke right here. You can check out his Seriously Strange channel and subscribe to it at any time, and let him know that I sent you. And we'll see you next time.
I really admired Dylan's mind. He was a really unique thinker. I looked up to him in a lot of ways.
Well, it seems we might have a visitor. Who could that be? Come on in. Oh, it's Dylan from Household Hacker. Hey, Dylan, how are you?
He was just always one of those guys that you knew he was brilliant, and he was so far thinking on just this different level, and then I come to find out he saw me in a similar light where he would often look up to me.
This elevator is so stupid, it has a button for the floor that I'm already on. Dylan, I'm gonna let you handle this one, because that's just ridiculous.
Where's your bathroom?
We're in your house. So it's upstairs.
That kind of blew my mind, and it just goes to show that, a lot of times we may put ourselves down, but we have no idea We have no idea. Sometimes until it's too late.
Don't try to iron clothes while they are on your body. Bad idea. Do you not have an iron? Don't worry about it. Household Hacker's right here. He is going to show you what you can do to iron your clothes if you just don't have an iron.
Here's how to properly iron your clothes without an iron. First, you want to grab a beautiful toaster and some laundry. I'll be using a pair of underwear. We'll slide it into toast slot A and get it about halfway in. Once it's in, we'll go ahead and fire it up. After about 20 to 30 minutes, your laundry should be dry and nice and toasty. Put it on and jump on back into the real world.
He was a rare guy because he was this super nerd. Dylan was a super nerd, okay? I mean, he made his own keyboards in his spare time. Okay? So this guy, I mean, that's not the most nerdy thing he's ever done, but you know, that was something, but that was just the kind of stuff that interested him, making things and figuring out new ways to do things, and he was obsessed with the Mandalorian. My God. MatthewSantoro, Scott and Martin here. We were all in the same group chat, and Dylan would talk about the Mandalorian any chance he got, to the point where it would drive us kind of nuts. You know, we'd joke about it and stuff. We'd give him a hard time about it, but it was all in good fun, and he loved that show. He was thrilled by it. A lot of people like that show, so makes sense. He had good taste.
I don't quite understand how a person, even with a loved one, could take a picture with their dead body. No. Dylan, can you sit back down? Dylan, I don't get it. You do fine in your videos. Travel. Hold the stick down. Dylan. Let's sit back down. Let's sit back.
Dylan and I, we had a lot of parallels in our lives that allowed us to understand each other, I guess you could say, in a way that most others couldn't or wouldn't understand us. We had a lot of hardships, struggles. We knew a number of the same demons. We were familiar with them.
Now, most microwave tricks are fairly straightforward, but how about something a bit more strange? Well, our good friend and resident weirdo, Rob Dyke, has a tip for you involving stale potato chips.
There really isn't anything worse than stale chips, so why don't we take a look at how to bring those chips back to life.
Now, I wasn't in the original tribute video that was produced and uploaded shortly after Dylan had passed away. For those of you who have seen that original one, for the short while that it was up, I didn't make an appearance in that. And that's because I refused to be in the tribute because of a certain individual who was involved behind the scenes, who frankly had no business being involved to begin with. I'm not going to name any names, obviously, because I don't want to make this about that.
Well, thank you for that, Rob. That was a great tip.
But maybe the time will come when the truth is brought to light. For those who actually loved Dylan, for Household Hacker, and for Dylan's legacy, I genuinely hope that it does come to light. It's been a year since Dylan died, and as someone who was so close to Dylan, I know many of you out there are wondering how he passed away. That's natural. Some people may disagree with me explaining how he died, and I understand that, but I've already spoken with everyone involved on a personal level with Dylan, and I have received the go-ahead with that because, you know, now that we don't have to be censored or worry about being censored, we can kind of say what we want. Now, despite Dylan being a very private person, I'm sure he would want me to tell all of you. It's tough to talk about, but sorry. I just never expected. It's not something you expect to take someone from your life, especially someone who was as close to you as Dylan was to me. I expected this to go way smoother than it is. So I'm just going to try to say it. Dylan had a condition that ravaged his life, that he kept very quiet, because he was just a private person like that. But now that he's gone, I don't think he's in a position to care much about that. But Dylan had lumbago. It was terminal. Truth be told, I didn't even know until he had passed. So it truly is the silent killer. And just hug your loved ones while you can, because lumbago is out there and you have no idea when it'll strike. Okay, sorry for trolling you a little bit there, but Dylan would be pissed off if at least one of us didn't make a joke out of this whole situation. He'd be pretty upset if it was all just handled completely seriously. He was really a funny guy. He was a fun-loving person. He was a private person, and no one's going to disrespect that. So the true cause will remain with his family and his loved ones. And we hope you can continue to respect that. That's all I have to say. Thanks for everything, Dylan. Thanks for being one of my best friends and letting me know how it feels to, as much as I can, have a brother. Good night, my sweet prince. I love you. Gay. Okay, that's all from me. Scott, play us out.
Even in these trying times, you should still be partying, but you gotta know when it's time for business. If you see this, just know that I tried everything I could, but they're here. There's only one thing left.